Man, we back at it. We back at it. We back at it. You know what I mean? Another day in paradise. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about it. Like, share, subscribe. You know what I mean? Hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about it tonight. The high school mentality and the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And how it's having an effect on the gentlemen of leisure and the ladies of leisure within the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I don't condone or promote any criminal activities whatsoever. I'm an entertainer, an educator, and I'm here to motivate those that want to get motivated. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the high school mentality, man, that's something that's very, 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 very common in the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that like the high school mentality. What you mean by that, Ambassador Ron? Like, break that down, man. Like, it's a lot of people that weren't popular in high school. I'm coming to that realization that a lot of individuals that weren't popular in high school, and that's having an effect on their mentality within the lifestyle. A lot of young ladies, they weren't popular in high school, so they're looking for that acceptance in the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself this: why do so many broads within the lifestyle stand in groups outside? You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself that. They want to be the popular kid. They want to be the popular kid that they never was. They want to be the popular student that they never was, for real. If you really think about it, it's like why are y'all in the circle right now? Especially if you're not if you guys don't have the same goals. You guys don't want to achieve the same things. On the other hand, I might look at it like this. They might want to achieve the same things, but you know what I mean? A pimp's mindset of achievement versus her mindset of achievement are two different things. She might think, well, shit, I made $200. That's a good day. Or, you know, I can't wait to give him this $200 so I can ride daddy dick. You know what I'm saying? Which is not really an achievement, nor a goal. But you have a lot of young ladies in the lifestyle that stand in groups. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those bras that stand in groups, what they don't understand is this: you're outside to complete a mission. Well, you should be outside to complete a mission. You should have a goal. But that being stuck in that high school mentality, they'll never reach that goal. They don't understand you're in a lifestyle that requires you to be an adult. It requires you to be a woman. Many felt like, you know what? I wasn't really pretty in high school. I wasn't really pretty in middle school and high school and stuff like that. Now that I've developed, when I say developed, I'm not talking about mentally. She might feel like I've developed my body. You know what I mean? I got boobs, I got titties, I got ass, I got a pretty ass face. You know what I'm saying? Well, shit, since I'm developed now, you know what I mean? Or I developed in my senior year in high school, and now I'm in the lifestyle, I've graduated. Shout out to all the graduates out there, you know what I mean? And since I've graduated, you know what I mean? I'm cool now. I can be popular now. I can be that popular young lady that I always wanted to be. Many have been bullied. She's been bullied so much. She's been talked about so much. Now she believes, you know what, now I'm the bully. That's why you see a group of young ladies walking on the blade and they might be laughing at a broad or taunting a broad, or she feels like the popular kid. You know what I'm saying? And the reality is, a lot of these young ladies, they never really, really were loved. You know what I'm saying? They never was really, really loved. They usually come from broken homes. You know what I'm saying? And their mentality is going to be stuck in the high school's mentality, and you're not going to get the best results that you want out of this young lady. And I want you to understand that, because a lot of people think that, you know what, I can get her mind to evolve. If she's stuck in that place, you can't get her to evolve. She has to not want to be stuck in that place. A lot of them have the mindset that, you know what, I'm only outside because I have nowhere else to stay. And I'm just telling you the real. You might not like this shit. You might like, Ron, stop it. Come on, Ron. No, I'm telling you the real. I'm telling you the real. Her mindset is more so, I'm outside. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just let some hours go by. And think about this. She's willing to waste her own time. So what makes you think she's not gonna waste yours? A lot of these broads, they have a high school mentality. And her mindset is, I'm only doing this because I need a place to stay. Did she really come home, or did she look at you as a shelter? You know what I'm saying? I'm only outside because, he won't accept me as a square. A lot of them have that mentality. And how does that relate to the high school mentality? A lot of young ladies in school, in high school, they had the mindset that, I'm only going to school so I won't get kicked out my mama's house. That's the only reason why I'm in school. I don't want to get kicked out of my mama's house. So many young broads in the game that are only in the game because they don't want to get kicked out their boyfriend's house. You know what I'm saying? I'm only in school because I have to. I'm only in school to make my parents proud. I'm only doing this to make daddy proud. I'm only doing this to make my boyfriend proud. That calls itself a P. The high school mentality. You know what I'm saying? Look at how a lot of young ladies look at the lifestyle and how they look at it like school. You know what I'm saying? Some of them don't even show up to school. It's important to ask a young lady, hey, did you finish school? Did you drop out? Did you skip classes? Because some, at the end of the day, they won't even show up. You know what I'm saying? They won't even show up. They didn't show up they didn't show up to none of their classes, and they're not going to show up when it's time for them to work. It would take for you to physically, put her in the car and, drive to the Blade for her to actually make it there. That don't mean she gonna stay there. You know what I'm saying? Same thing when she was in high school. A lot of, parents, they drove, their child to the school. And yeah, they drove there, they got there, but they didn't stay there. They ditched. The high school mentality and the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And the parent, he only took his daughter to school because the last couple of times she ditched. And that's why she ditched your instructions, P. You know what I mean? She did school, she ditched your instructions. She said, nah, I don't want to go to class. You know what I'm saying? I want to smoke and drink and fuck. She has the high school mentality and the lifestyle. That's why she's not a lady of leisure. She's not focused on your instructions from the instructor. She's focused on destructions. Many only went to high school to socialize. And to show off her new outfit. You know what I mean? Hey, let's keep it real. Even the fellas too. Sometimes, a lot of these dudes might pull up to the Blade. You didn't come here to pimp. You came to show off your outfit. And some of y'all be looking a fool. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? A puff coat of purple jeans and a puff bar? Come on, man. We could do better than that. You came out here to show this bullshit off? You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Puff coat, purple jeans, and a goddamn puff bar. You just look like a regular motherfucker. A lot of y'all stuck in high school too with your attire. You dressing like a teenager. You know what I'm saying? P shouldn't be running around here dressing like no damn teenager. You know what I mean? You dressing like a teenager. You come in the circle just to socialize. You didn't come outside to do no pimping, no campaigning, no nothing. Same thing with the young ladies. She come outside with her pussy and her puff bar. You know what I'm saying? And what she would call her new outfit, that she got from the smoke shop. She didn't come out here to work. She doesn't desire to be a Harvard University hoe. She want to be, like Sinful used to say, Harvard University hoes and Harvard University pimps. She didn't come outside for that. You know what I'm saying? The high school mentality is looking for social acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I think about it, like, okay, you're searching for social acceptance that you didn't get in high school, and now that there's no principals, there's no teachers, you believe since you have free will outside, and you don't have any principles, and you're not going to get expelled or nothing like that, that this is your opportunity to shine. You know what I'm saying? This is your opportunity to shine through social acceptance, through going in circles and being the person that you always wanted to be, but you didn't have the ability to be that person because everybody in school knew who you really were. Some individuals knew you were in middle school or when you was in preschool. You know what I mean? They knew who you were when you were younger. So now that you're outside, you can be who you really want to be. You know what I'm saying? The high school mentality is finding your identity even through social media. A lot of individuals within the gang, they have a high school's mentality. When you think of a teenager and a high schooler, a lot of them are still learning themselves, and they're so easily impressionable, very naive and impressionable. Just look at all the memes and the sayings that a lot of young ladies repeat within their lifestyle. It's giving, you know what I'm saying? We listen, we don't judge. You know what I mean? High school shit. The high school mentality should have never matriculated into the lifestyle. I'm a fairy. Yeah, I'm a fairy. You got bitches running around here talking about they fairies and shit. That's the high schooler's mentality. There shouldn't be confusion on if a young lady's a high schooler or if she's a hoe. You know what I'm saying? A lot of young ladies in the lifestyle, they look at their folks as the math teacher or the PE teacher, one of the other. You know, us in school, we all had our favorite courses or whatnot. You know what I mean? But she looked at you as the math teacher or the PE teacher. You know what I mean? She looked at the authentic folks as the math teacher. I know a lot of people didn't like math coming up in school, so she looked at the authentic folks as the math teacher at the end of the day. The math teacher was serious. He was serious about teaching his course. You know what I'm saying? So she skipped. She said, you know what, fuck math. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to skip this class at the end of the day. I don't even want to go to math class. And she might have went to other classes where the teacher wasn't tripping. She could sit in the back of the class and listen to him talk. And he wasn't really tripping about rules and stuff like that. Think about when you were in school and how you used to skip certain classes because the teacher was tripping. Or you didn't really like the course, so you skipped the class. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So look how that relates in the lifestyle too. A lot of young ladies, they get with some authentic folks, right? And since he's serious about the lifestyle, they say, you know what? This nigga too serious about this motherfucking lifestyle. He's too serious about this lifestyle. I'm going to go to the PE teacher. I'm going to go with somebody that's not too serious about this. He doesn't have a lot of rules and instructions. I'm going to go towards somebody that's going to trick off. It's important to ask her, what classes did you skip? You know what I'm saying? What classes was it? You know what I'm saying? What were they? And why did you skip? And you might say, well, Ron, you comparing the high school to, you know what I'm saying, the lifestyle. The past repeats itself. You know what I'm saying? Especially if she's not willing to change. The past repeats itself, especially if she's not willing to change. And there's some people and individuals that are never changed. And that's just the truth. A lot of people don't want to admit to that, but that's just the reality and the truth. Now, what she valued was somebody's going to let her do what she want to do. And in this lifestyle, you should do what you want to do. Now, if you don't want to follow that man's instructions, you should leave. You know what I'm saying? You should skip his course and go to PE. Because PE might let you do what you want to do. The PE teacher might let you act crazy, talk crazy, have your headphones in when he's lecturing. You know what I mean? He's talking to you about cardio, and you talking to your friends. You sit next to your friends talking about City Girls or Gorilla Girl or whatever, whatever they listen to. The fairy girl. You know what I'm saying? And what that young lady doesn't understand is that if she stayed in that math class at the end of the day, and I'm using a metaphor, of course, right? That staying in that math class might have been a requirement for her to graduate. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is the perfect time to bring up the high school mentality, knowing that there are many that just graduated. You know what I mean? And not only at the end of the day, it's just like, look, you should have stayed in that class so you can graduate, so you can take the necessary courses that are required to graduate. It also shows discipline. A lot of young ladies, they don't have the discipline. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I didn't like Mr. Spencer in my math class because he used to tell me to put away my phone, so I skipped his class. Look how that relates to in the lifestyle. She told him you can't smoke. He told him you can't smoke that puff bar, so she blew. You know what I'm saying? All he said is, I need your undivided attention. And she was like, you know what? I'm not going to pay attention. I'm finna leave. You know what I'm saying? It's good to know these things. It's good to know if she stayed down for some classes, you know what I mean, that she didn't necessarily like. You know what I mean? It's important to know these things. Because if she's able to stay down for those courses she don't like, she'll say, you know what? I'm going to do what it needs to take to reach the ultimate goal. You know what I'm saying? I might not like him all the time, but I respect him. I might not like him all the time, but these are the requirements that are needed for us to go to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And many are stuck in that high school mentalities is because they fear being an adult. They fear transitioning. You know what I'm saying? They fear. It's a fear. It's like, you know what? I don't want to transition. I don't want to do anything great. I don't want to be an adult. When you deal with a lot of broads in a lifestyle, you like, man, she's very childish. She's very childlike. Very childlike. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Many that are good students in high school make some great hoes. Many that were good college students make some great hoes. All school pretty much tells me, especially if you got good grades and you're an honor roll student. What that tells me at the end of the day is that you're able to follow instructions. Contrary to what a lot of people think in society, oh, gentlemen of leisure peas, they just want a stupid bitch. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to society's belief, no. You know what I'm saying? A gentleman of leisure wants a young lady that's smart, that got good grades, because she's able to follow instructions. You know what I'm saying? And we have to definitely bring that up, because thinking that, a man wants a dumbass broad, that's furthest from the truth. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of dudes in the game have a high school mentality too. It's a lot of fellas out there that got a high school mentality. He in his head, you know what? I was on the basketball team. I was on the football team. You know what I'm saying? I was a jock in high school. So since I was a jock in high school, I should be a pimp. You know what I mean? That's why you hear so many weird ass niggas and cornballs say shit like, P, let's post throwbacks. I stayed with hoes. You know what I mean? Look at my prom picture. You know what I'm saying? Look at my prom picture. I stayed suited and booted. I stayed having bitches. Nigga, that's a prom picture. You was in high school. You ain't, hey man, look, you ain't been suited since. You haven't been suited and booted since prom. You know what I mean? And the bitch you took a picture with, you don't even know her. Come on, man. Niggas have a high school mentality too. A lot of these dudes want to be the cool kid. They want to be the cool kid, man. You on a high school football team. And if anybody didn't associate or like the football players or your teammates, you know what I'm saying, they weren't considered cool. You ostracized them. You know, there's a lot of separation within the lifestyle. There's a lot of cool kids in the lifestyle. There's supposed to be brotherhood and camaraderie within the lifestyle. See, the lifestyle is different than gangs. A lot of these dudes, they have a high school dropout gang members mentality. A high school dropout gang members mentality. We don't fuck with the people up the street. And it should not be like that. It shouldn't be the popular kids versus the kids, you know, that really take their studying serious and they weren't as popular. That's how many of the young ladies in the lifestyle look at the lifestyle. You know what I mean? They're choosing the high school jocks. They're not choosing the individual that he may seem as if it, you know, he has a lot of intelligence and he's serious about his studies. They're not choosing that. They have a high school mentality because they think anything profound with intellect and knowledge is nerd shit. Oh, you a nerd. You speaking, you using all them big words and shit. You know what I mean? They think buffoonery and acting like a goddamn pirate, they think that that's what a P is. They think a P is a pirate. Drinking and smoking and acting a fool. Run around here with gold, you know, run around with gold and drinking and smoking with gold teeth and shit. You know what I mean? And run around with guns. You're not paying a pimp, you're paying a pirate, bitch. He got a high school mentality just like you. That's why you guys get along so well. You know what I mean? You got niggas running around here with Teletubby boxers and shit. You know what I'm saying? And sagging and skinny purple jeans and fanny packs and flowers on his jeans and shit. He's dressing like a teenager. And see, this reminds you of high school. You know what I mean? You dress like a bop in high school. You dress like a bop when you outside. It's just that your body's now developed, so you get to show it off now. He believes that the cool kid mentality, which is a high schooler's mentality, makes him a P. You know what I'm saying? See, the high school mentality is this too. People in the game, a lot of people in the game are following trends. Not only is it a high school mentality, it doesn't show leader. It doesn't show leadership. It doesn't show that you are a leader. It doesn't show that you have a mind of your own if you're following trends. You know, people that create trends, they usually have a Harvard University's mindset. People that go to Ivy League schools, they usually have a mind of their own. Some of the most brilliant minds at the end of the day went to Ivy League schools, even if they dropped out. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these dudes, not only are they not this game, and not only do they have a high schooler's mentality, because their mindset is, I want the prettiest bitch. I want the prettiest bitch. Instead of saying, you know what? You know, what's her mindset like? You know what I'm saying? What's her mindset like? What's her mindset like? And does she actually care about doing anything great in life? This is bigger than just even the lifestyle. Does she care about doing anything great in life? Mainly the lifestyle, of course. But has that ever crossed her mind at all? You know what I'm saying? Has that ever even crossed her mind? Has she ever? Nah, they like, you know what? She got a fat ass. I'm going to go sweat her. A lot of these dudes think like high schoolers. A lot of the dudes, like, This is a great example too. A lot of dudes might have purposely joined the basketball team because all the females like the basketball players. You know what I mean? If you was a basketball player, you was cool. That's how a lot of these dudes are. A lot of these dudes are in the lifestyle because they figured, hey man, look, this is the opportunity for me to get more bitches. You have a high school mentality. You know what I'm saying? You definitely do. And you have to ask yourself, is this aligned with my purpose? See, a pimp can't be out of line. Excuse me, a pimp can't be out of pocket. A hoe can be out of pocket. A pimp can't be out of pocket. Now, you could be out of line. You know what I'm saying? If you out of line, that means you need to get within alignments with your purpose. And if you're thinking like a high schooler in this lifestyle, you out of line. You know what I'm saying? For sure. You for surely out of line. And a lot of young ladies need to understand, just because he joined the basketball team does not mean he's a great basketball player. Does not mean he was meant to, you know what I'm saying, play basketball. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people within this lifestyle that are just coming out of nowhere trying to get in this shit because they want to be popular. Some of these dudes weren't popular in high school. You know what I'm saying? Some of these dudes, you know, they weren't popular at all. And now that he gained a little muscle, or he didn't sat up there and got a face tattoo, or he didn't grew him some dreads, he gets to be the popular kid that he always desired to be.